Little story to start things off, kind of. You know, this is the time of year, and it happens every year. And, you know, it's like you forget it's coming because you're not thinking about it. And the weather's warm, and you're thinking about all the things you can do outside and everything, and all the stuff you can get done around the house. And then all of a sudden, everything changes. And all of a sudden, your once calm life, your easygoing days, they're shattered, and you're plunged into a life of disarray and disorder, and chaos is abounding, and you know, and it's not like a Plague of Locusts or American Idol tour, but you know, it's something even greater, and it's the annual event. It sends chills up every parent's spine. The children are home for the summer.
I say summer vacation.
You know, it kind of shakes up families, you know. But it is kind of true in some ways, but it's kind of funny that we know it's coming, yet we're not prepared for it, right? Never, yes. Anyway, all kidding aside, it's a wonderful time to have the kids close and always around. And yes, okay, we'll move on. Today, in our world, and all kidding aside with the kids getting out of school and all that, we are in a world of chaos. There's just no two ways about it. And there are a lot of things that affect us, but our attitude is a major one. And so last week I started by sharing, you know, where you got your attitude. And first of all, it's from your personality, who you are. Yeah. It's from your environment, what's around you. It's the expression of others, in other words, what you feel. And it's your self-image, how you see yourself. That's probably one of the biggest stumbling blocks for most people. They do not see themselves very well. And then it's exposure to growth opportunities. And you know, daily we have growth opportunities, but we let them fly right on by. And somebody will mention it, and we're like, what? You know, we got to be more observant. We have to have hearing ears. The Lord is presenting things to us every day. And it doesn't always come in the vessel you wanted or expected. It doesn't always come, you know, when you told God it should be there. It comes at another time, you know, when you're not thinking about it. And sometimes that's even better, because then you're not going to dictate what He's telling you. You're going to hear it in a different way. And that's why He wants us to have ears that are hearing ears, and He wants us to have ears that will be open to whatever He tells us. And another point is our association with our peers. So many people, we forget that we become who we're like. It isn't always they become like us. The tendency is for the other to happen. So what's happened in America? The church has become more like the world, hasn't it? And so they really don't see a difference anymore. So their comments are, hey, why should I go there? It's no different than what I do normally, which is not very good. And then our beliefs, what we think. Our beliefs. What are our beliefs? What are our beliefs based on? Something somebody told us? Something somebody said? Or have we ever really cracked the cover of the Bible and dug in there and really, really learned who God is? Not just had a surface, you know, like, oh, I know God. Okay, tell us about Him. He's in heaven, and that's about it. You know, it's a lot more than that. But people have to understand who He is, the relationship. Have to have a walk, a fellowship with Him, where you're talking with Him daily, where you're listening to Him daily. Because most of us, we have our 10 to 20 things we want to tell God in the morning, things we want to do for us. And then when we get done and say, okay, God, I'll be back tonight after you've completed your work. And then that's it. And that's the wrong attitude. Everything's upside down. Then there are the choices that we make. Well, boy, are we getting burned on that one. The choices we make are not the choices that God would have us to make. They're not the choices that he wants us to make. And a lot of time, our attitudes have a definite effect upon them. You know, needies, remember some of us who are a year or two older than some of the others. We remember the 1980s and the self-esteem movement, you know, and that whole thing. It wasn't what it was cracked up to be, was it? And what came out of it is many people have a greater attitude about themselves. They think they're so good. And however, their high opinion of themselves and their abilities is very disconnected from reality. You know, and in fact, if they walk, they have to turn their head when they walk through the door because they're so big-headed. You know, they can't make it through. And there was the Dean of Education at Stanford University said that she gets students in the graduate school who are, you know, up to that point had got straight A's. Now they're working on their doctorals, and now it's time in the doctoral to get feedback. And if she tells them what they need to hear that will help them develop skills, they react very bad because they've never got a truthful answer. They've never been told. It's always been all these glorious, wonderful, flowery things. They've never been told the truth that would help them to grow and become a deeper person. Because let's face it, we're in a surface world with a lot of surface people, and they don't have any connection with their attitudes. And you cannot disconnect your attitude from reality and then expect success. It just will not happen. And your attitude, well, it has a lot to do with your success or failure, doesn't it? In many areas. And yes, it's the old, if you believe it, you can have it. You know, you'll achieve it. Let's get back to reality, okay? Those kind of statements can motivate you. They can encourage you in some ways, but they will also end up disappointing you because it's surface. We have to get deeper, just like we have to hear clearer from the Lord. And when all of the things are equal, attitude, you know, is a difference maker, but the difference is in what do we hear. So when I get done tonight, it'll be a big question of what everybody heard. And I'll tell you, they're going to hear umpteen different things. And they'll hear different from up front than they did in back. From those who are awake to those who sleep. It'll be different, you know. Everybody has, you know, different abilities, has the ability to hear and has the ability to understand. We all have the ability to understand if we're listening.
True.
The Lord gave us 2 ears, so we listen twice as much as we talk. But we've switched it and we talk twice as much as we listen. So this thing is a whole backwards. So many people, because of their attitude, and I'm not saying attitude is all bad. Attitude is good, but as long as you have it under control, as long as you have some basis and there's some depth in there. But so many times, people have an attitude with no experience. And talent won't get you where you're going. Talent alone will not achieve what most people think it will. Because you're going to have a lot of hard knocks. You're going to have some falls. And in today's society, I just heard on the radio coming in tonight, there was a baseball game, and this gentleman went to it, and he got all frustrated and left. And the ladies are walking in, they're saying to him, "What's the score? What's the score?" He said, "Well, they announced they're not keeping a score because they don't want anyone to be upset." How dumb is that?
Wow.
Why are you there?
Oh my God.
But see, that's what they've done. They've turned things around. They don't want anyone to have a bad attitude about losing, so all of them play right. They don't know what the truth is about games and about growing and competition. You know? Pardon?
And you told me truth was 2 makes 5 now?
Oh yeah, well that's another problem, but anyway, we'll get back to that one. There's an attitude gap between truth and between bull, really. I mean, between things that are not true, you know, because what they think is true is not always true, and what they say is true is not true. It's just not founded on a solid basis of scripture, of truth, of reality in the world. And if there were two job candidates, Jim, you had two people walk up and say, I want a job. And one had 0 experience, and one had 20 years of experience. And the one who had 0 experience had a big attitude and was loud, but you still knew he had no experience. Obviously, you would take the one with experience because you wouldn't have to work with him so hard. Well, people will do the opposite today.